Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of the Summer Spotlight. I am your host, Gayle Nicholson, and I'm very, very happy to see you here again today. Thank you so much for showing up. As always, if you're watching on Facebook Live or, please give us some hearts, give us some likes, make some comments. That's awesome. We'd love to hear from you. If you're watching on YouTube or on my GayleNicholson.com /stream page, please subscribe. We are growing and I would love to have you along for the ride. Thanks so much. All right, so today's guest is a very delightful lady from the Midwest who can do a lot to help you organize the clutter in your life. And get rid of the things that really might be just sucking the life out of you instead of contributing to your life. So here we go. Let me introduce you to Miss Cindy Garloch, professional home organizer with thecureforyourclutter.com. Thank you so much for joining me today, Cindy. How you doing?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm doing well today. I'm excited to be here and excited to share some information that'll help people in the future with their stuff.
Awesome. Awesome stuff. All right. So, one of the things that I'm really excited to talk to you about is the fact that we both have Toastmasters in our toolbox, if you will. And you've got a project coming up for Toastmasters. Tell me a little bit about that and how you're making that fulfillment.
So I have a project coming up that I'm working on. It's my final project. It is to reach an award called Distinguished Toastmasters, and you do several things to get there, but in this final project, what I'm going to do is have a donation day. You either can give back to the community or give back to Toastmasters. And since I've done a lot for Toastmasters, I wanted to give back to the community as I feel very strongly about it with my business, giving back directly to those in our community so they can give to those who need it for free versus $5.99, $6.99, that sort of thing. So I decided I was going to invite the local food pantry to the event on October 17th, as well as the Salvation Army, as well as we will have a pro shred truck there, which will shred all your documents securely. You don't even need to take the binder clips or the paper clips or the rubber bands, anything. It just literally goes into a wood chipper and it disappears. So you know it's all being safely gotten rid of, essentially, without anybody seeing your information. So I'm super excited about that. We just finalized the date. It'll be 10 to 12 on that Saturday, October 17th. So I hope everybody in the area can come join us, let go of their stuff, and bless somebody else.
Fantastic. Now, just to recap, where specifically is this going to be? And it's in Indianapolis, correct?
In Indiana, actually in Westfield, Indiana, which is just north of Indianapolis.
Okay.
It'll be at the First Merchants Bank at 32 and Cary. If you're on 32 and Cary, you can't miss it. We're going to take up the whole parking lot with the different trucks and hopefully be able to bless a lot of people with stuff that people don't need that they can let go of.
Fantastic. All right, so bring your canned goods, bring your old clothes, and bring your documents that are just,
There you go.
bring your old clothes, your food you don't want, and your documents, and help Cindy give back to the community as well as Toastmasters and help her achieve that distinguished Toastmasters level. My mom was a distinguished Toastmaster. I was just a club president back in my day. I didn't go to I started going to the area level, and it's like, nope, not doing that. So I really give you a lot of credit because it takes a lot of commitment and there's a lot of work that needs to be done to receive those awards. So, you're at the top now. This is fantastic.
Yeah, it's been a long road, but what's funny about it is when my mentor mentioned becoming a distinguished Toastmaster long ago, I said, I just want to be able to speak better in public. Oh, you'll want to later. It's, you have to do all this stuff. I said, no, I really, really don't want to do that. And she kept mentioning it. And I was like, no, I actually joined Toastmasters because of my organizing business. So that's kind of ironic. And finally, somebody asked me to mentor and sponsor a club. And I thought, well, that sounds interesting. I really believe in the mission of Toastmasters. So that sounds great. So I called Jane, my mentor, right away and said, what do you think about this? And she said, well, if you do the sponsoring and mentoring and then you become area director for a year, you could become a distinguished Toastmaster. And I was like, what? Why didn't you tell me that? The longest pause ever. And so here we are, a couple of years later. So it's been good. One thing I did want to mention about the donation day is Open Doors will also be taking unopened cleaning supplies as well as unopened personal hygiene products. And the reason I mention that, why it's so important, is because people that are on food stamps that need that kind of assistance, they cannot use their food stamps for that type of product. So
Sure.
just
Toilet
something to think
paper,
about. It'll be on my
paper
flyer,
towels.
but yeah, something to think about.
Excellent stuff. Now, forgive me, I'm kind of mind boggled this morning. I want to ask you, essentially, overwhelm. I know for myself, right? I used to have an awful lot of clutter everywhere, and then I realized that I have a touch of, you might label it ADHD. I call it shiny object syndrome or squirrel.
Right, both, right.
And this article that I read said that people that have that kind of squirrel mentality really need to minimalize their clutter because it ruins productivity. They see something out of the corner of the eye and it triggers a whole new train of thought that takes them out of what they're doing. How is it that you can help your clients deal with overwhelm through organization?
Well, actually, there is several types of clutter. I know you mentioned the physical clutter and the stuff we have in our closets, but there's several different types of clutter. There is physical clutter that you're mentioning. There's mental clutter, all that stuff in our head about saying no or not saying no. And when you say no, when you say yes to somebody else, you're saying no to yourself. That can add to your clutter in your head. Financial clutter, such as debt, as well as social clutter, toxic friends that, I know it sounds crazy, but if you go out to dinner for 3 hours with a friend and she just complains the whole time and doesn't take any of your advice or doesn't even, really listen too much, and then you've spent a ton of money on food, a ton of calories you didn't want to eat, you really didn't help at all. That's what we're talking about with social clutter. And what I wanted to mention about that, which there's good news and there's a bad news about that. I'm going to start with the bad news. The bad news is most people that have physical clutter, mental clutter, financial clutter, social clutter have all the rest of them. They have all the clutters. So they're overwhelmed with their space, which means they eat more, which means they, spend more money on food than they need to because they just go out instead of eating in and that sort of thing. And so that sounds like the bad news, right? That, oh my gosh, if I've got all this stuff and all these financial issues and social issues, it's very overwhelming. The positive part of this is, or that I like to say, is that once you start letting go of some of your clutter, some of the other clutters slowly reduce as well. So if you get rid of some of your physical clutter, say you get rid of physical clutter in your kitchen, you donate a whole bunch of stuff, and then you organize it, and you can find, when you open your cabinets, you can easily find a pot or pan or whatever you're looking for. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden it's easy and your pantry's organized. You can grab whatever you need from your pantry because you can easily find it, and you can easily make a healthy meal. And if your fridge and your freezer are organized too, you can easily make a healthy meal. Now, what happens to some of my clients is they've got the physical clutter, so they open up the cabinets, and half the pots and pans almost fall out of the cabinet. You've seen the Goodwill commercial, right? And then you're stressed. The kids are stressed. They're, Mom, I'm hungry. You shut the cabinet. You say, we're just going to order pizza. And so there's $35 versus 10 to feed a family of 4, something like that. So it's all related. So if the kitchen's cleaned out and the pantry's cleaned out, you can make a healthy meal. You're saving calories, you're saving money, you're saving time. It's just all adds up. So once you reduce one sort of clutter, you can reduce the other clutters.
Nice, nice. And they do tend to just naturally kind of fall away, huh?
Right. You just if you organize your closet and you let go of that stuff that you don't need, and then you can find both of your tennis shoes. You decide you're going to go to the gym. If you can't find them, you're like, forget it, I'll do it tomorrow. It's hard enough to get to the gym as it is. But if you could just grab your shoes and grab your socks, then you're halfway there, right? Yeah. So getting organized can just add so much value to other parts of your life that help you feel better about yourself, which helps let go of the clutter in other areas of your life. It's life-changing. It really is. People minimize it, but it really is life-changing. You just got to take the first step.
Now, I want to differentiate a bit too, because we're talking about clutter. We're not necessarily talking about hoarding, right? That's kind of like the far extreme of the spectrum, so to speak.
Right. There's actually 5 levels of clutter, of hoarding. Now you got me on clutter. 5 levels of hoarding. So even just having too much stuff, even if it's clean, and you could be a well-organized hoarder and have a whole bunch of containers in your basement that are all labeled and you know exactly where everything is, but you have 17 of them labeled Halloween or whatever. Now what you're talking about is, hoarders that, when people see the show, I watched that show once, Hoarders, and I couldn't watch it again. It was so sad. They were so mean about, and I know they're trying to be dramatic for the show, but at the end, this gentleman, they asked him if he wanted his wife or if he wanted his stuff. And he said, I want my stuff. And it's truly a medical condition, a psychological situation that really needs actual help by a doctor to work through that, because they don't want to get rid of anything.
Right.
So,
and that's a way different conversation from get the expired coupons out of your letter rack.
Right. It's looking for the, dead animals and all that. I just watched that show once, and I shouldn't even speak to it really because I only watched it once, but I had one client that was like that, and I worked with her for a short while, and she wasn't even that, nothing was really dirty. There was just a lot of it, but there was so much of it. And she really suffered. And so I decided that maybe it would be better for her to see a doctor, and then we could work together. But she didn't want to take the first step. It's hard. It's heartbreaking.
It is.
That's why getting organized is life-changing. It just is.
That's part of the reason why I wanted to differentiate, because when you're dealing with, for example, your parents' situation, not yours, but if your parents are hoarding and, they're getting older and it's hard to actually get to where they sit in the living room, and if an ambulance needed to be called, they wouldn't be able to get out, is a different level of conversation than we're talking about. So please don't watch the show and go away and tell your mother, all you need to do is spruce up the joint, you'll be fine. It's a totally different conversation, right?
Well, that's why I encourage people to reach out to professionals that can make that differentiation where they, we hear what's working, what's not working, what the actual situation is, hear the level, ask the right questions, and can pretty well assess what's going on. Even if people tell us, hey, I'm not a hoarder, but then you can tell just by the way they're saying they're so overwhelmed and they can't get through spaces, they're worried about a fire, that kind of thing. Yeah. So that's not who I help. I help people that are just running around kind of with their hair on fire, or they can't find things. They spend a lot of time looking for things. The average American spends 6.5 hours looking for their stuff every week. And so somebody's got to make up that average, right? So somebody's probably spending 13 and somebody's spending 2. So to help them save time, because time is valuable. Life is short. To help them save money when they're not buying things 3 times when they can't find it the first time. Saving sanity, when you're turning your house upside down, when you're leaving for a meeting and you can't find that one document you were supposed to bring and you turn your house upside down, you're losing your mind. I mean, you're just losing your mind. And what I really like to help people do is gain the freedom to live a life they love and that they deserve.
Nice.
Everybody deserves to have calm and peace and freedom and time to either read a book or play a game with their kids or go bike riding or whatever they want to do. Everybody deserves that and needs that. And that's what organization will do for you when you don't spend all that time and money and aggravation looking for your stuff.
Yeah. Nice. Now, for somebody who was like me when my kids were little, right? Single mom, working, commuting, daycare, after school latchkey, trying to cook dinner, failing miserably most nights, and bathing and getting the kids to bed, laundry, dishes, the whole 9 yards, and you're trying to make it all happen, and there's just no keeping up with it. And I found myself, as social as I am, not wanting to invite people over to my house because it felt like they're going to judge me, or because I'm already judging me. This is not my standards. It's the best I can do, and it's not up to what I would want to do. So, how can you help with somebody like I used to be? And how could I trust you to not be one of those people judging me as you're helping me go through my stuff that I have let get out of control?
Well, I'm actually so proud of people when they call and actually make the initial call. When I did half marathons a long time ago, and I would say, I don't know about this, the trainer would say, you're lapping everybody on the couch. And I thought, I don't really know what that means. He's like, the fact that you even put on some gym shoes and got here is you're already ahead of a lot of people, just getting started. And so I honestly believe that people who take that first step and are ready to take that first step, I'm ready to help them. And I don't judge. I suffered a long time ago with being late because I always wanted to do one more thing or straighten up one more thing. Or, my house was a little crazed when I was single. And so I wouldn't be late, but I would get there just on time. And then I'd realize, oh, I don't have a pen. Now I got to ask somebody for paper. So it was very distracting. So that being said, I get where you're coming from. I've been there. I've helped a lot of people, and I don't judge. I'm just glad you're calling me for help and that you're trying to make a difference in your life so that you can have that freedom to live a life that we all deserve. That being said, I also offer complete confidentiality. When I work with you, I do not share your information at all with anybody. If you want to share the information that you worked with me, that's great, but I don't share that information. And even if we do a photo consent for pictures, and I do take before and after pictures, if you allow, that's up to you, then I don't share the information like, hey, this is Susie's house or whatever. There's no information. There's no way anybody knows that that was your house unless you actually tell them. But the reason I do that is because I think it's so inspiring to do before and after pictures. So when you start to get stuck, that you can see how far you've come, as well as if I put it on my website or show others pictures that people say, oh my gosh, that's my garage. You can help me with that, or that's my exact office. I can't see my desk either, or I can't figure out what to wear. We as women are really struggle with, having too much in our closet. So closets are my favorite. They're my absolute favorite because it's so empowering to let go of those clothes that you're never going to wear because you need to lose 10 pounds, or they're going to be in style maybe sometime, or they're whatever it is, you try and keep the clothes that you for the life you live now, not the one you used to live when you were in work for a corporation, or one you hope to live, like, oh, when I lose 30 pounds, or when I go to this New Year's Eve party, I'm going to wear this dress, and you haven't been to a New Year's Eve party in 35 years. Stuff like that. Let go of that stuff, bless somebody else. And then when you go into your closet, everything fits you. And I tell women, and they crack up, but if you put on something and you go to leave your bathroom, bedroom area, and you don't feel like $1,000,000, like, wow, I look great, put on something else and we usually leave a little box or a bag in the corner of the closet. Just put it in there because you're never going to end up wearing it. People end up wearing 20% of their closet 80% of the time. So you're not going to wear it. You're going to keep putting it on the hanger and put it back. So just bless somebody else. And when you have less, you can make quicker decisions. When you get in your closet where you love everything that's in your closet, you can make quicker decisions and get dressed easier, feel great about yourself. And that's why I love closets so much. But I don't offer that information to anybody. Oh, you should have seen so-and-so's closet. Oh, I've never seen so many clothes, because I've lived it. I totally get it. I didn't have anything to wear and I kept beating myself up about, I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to do this. And I spent money on it and all that.
I'm getting to that point where my good stuff, my fun stuff is getting boring, right? So I do find myself spending more time going, oh my God, I can't wear that twice within a week. I don't care if it was on Friday and Monday and the laundry was done on Saturday. Nobody will understand. I can't choose that one. And it's like, it's a game almost inside the closet. And it's so much easier, you're right, when I've got it pared down to the stuff that, and organized in such a way that this is the stuff I'm wearing now. This is the stuff I may wear 6 months from now when the weather changes, and so on. And we just moved a few months ago, so I thankfully didn't move everything. We pared down a lot, and it was amazing to me how much had accumulated over the last 7 or 8 years.
That's the perfect time to declutter, though, and let go of things, is when you're going to move, when you think you have to pay somebody to put it in a box, or you put it in a box and they move it, and then you have to think about if you're going to take it out of the box and where's it going to go and that sort of thing. I had a closet client last week that she was like, okay, I guess we'll put it in order, and I said, it'll be so much easier when you walk in here, you've got your no sleeves, your short sleeves and your long sleeves, and then you've got your sweaters, your dresses are over here. You just know what you want to wear. You can go grab it. She's like, I guess. Well, then she sent me a message that she had sent to her mom. And she's like, Mom, I can't believe my closet. I decided I wanted to wear this little white kimono dress. And I literally went to my long sleeves and my things that go over or layering piece. And there it was, right where I left it. It was perfect. It wasn't on the floor. It wasn't down in the laundry room or, in the family room. She's like, I just walked in, grabbed it and put it on. And she said, I know it sounds silly, but it's so relieving. And I wrote back to her and I said, it's not silly and it's not small. It's huge. I mean, I have chills right now, and I had chills when she sent me that message. Yeah. It's so huge to be able to just walk in and be able to pick something up and move on with your life. Mm-hmm. and have more time, because all those moments add up, right? Whether it's 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 minutes, whatever, you put all that time together and all of a sudden you have time for a movie, or you have time to go hang out with your kids for an hour, or it's not that it's
just to breathe without anxiety.
Right.
All of that, where is it? Where did I put it last? Where did I have it? Oh my God. All of that part disappears. It's not necessary.
Right. And it all adds up. So I'll work with people or prospective clients that say, I don't have time. I don't have 4 hours. I don't have 4 hours. And I'm like, you're somebody who needs it the most. And I'm not judging. I'm speaking exactly to myself several years ago. You need it the most. Just by, having me come in for 4 hours, we figure out what's working, what's not. We can add in some simple solutions, let go of some extra stuff so you can see your stuff, and add in some simple solutions that add up to big relief. And then those hours, you get those back, not that you can get time back, but you get those hours back week after week after week, when you're not searching for your stuff, because you can just go into the pantry and be like, that's where the spaghetti sauce is, versus like, do we have one? I don't know. Now I've got to call my husband. Let's see if he can he can pick one up. Now dinner's going to be late. And, it's all unnecessary. Mm-hmm. It all can be solved by simple solutions. And that's what I hope to help people do.
Now, what happens with, somebody who has organized their space and, maybe spring cleaning, it's a fresh start, let's get this old stuff out of here, dust the baseboards, and, you know, oh my gosh, it looks wonderful. And then by the next weekend, it's practically back to where they started from. What
Well, yeah,
what happens
because
there?
well, that's because you have people still living there, right? It's like I could keep this place clean if everybody would stay somewhere else, right? But I think a lot of it is that we aren't brutal enough with ourselves when we let go of things. We put a couple things in a bag and bring it to Salvation Army. Maybe you get rid of 2 pair of shoes and you have 50. And so you can't organize clutter. I can't remember who said it, and I want to quote them, but I don't remember off the top of my head. You can't organize clutter. You have to get rid of it. You just have to let it go so that you can see you only have 10 pair of shoes, and so that it takes less time to maintain. If it takes less time to maintain, then you're actually going to do it, right? Because if you throw your shoes on the floor, and as soon as you walk back into the closet, I told a friend of mine this, no shoes on the floor. She's like, oh my gosh. I said, because I know from experience, if there's 1 pair of shoes on the floor, you get home late from work, you're tired, there's a pair there already, and then it all of a sudden becomes, so you really have to be brutal about decluttering and letting go so that you can maintain it. Because if you can maintain it and use a few tricks here and there, it's easier to maintain and it doesn't happen again. It might get, like our house every so often gets a little crazy if I'm running around trying to get ready for something. And I'll come home and I'll think, oh my gosh, we've been robbed. But honestly, it only takes 15 minutes to get things back in order because everything has a home. Because I've decluttered so brutally a few times. I'm getting better at it all the time, so I'm learning right along with you. But if something has a home, then it's easy to put away. It's where the issue is where it's not organized and there's too much stuff and you go to put it away, there's nowhere. So then you're like, well, now I don't know where to put it. I have nowhere to put it. And so you can't maintain that. So you just leave it how it is.
Yeah.
So you got to be brutal. Yep.
So tell us a little bit about how your process works. Is there a method to your madness?
Well, there's a method to getting started. People will call me or message me on my website, and then we have a 15-minute free conversation, and I ask them the questions, what's working, because probably something's working, what's not working, because there's usually something really not working, and what do you foresee for your space? Because I know it sounds kind of foo-foo-y, like what's your vision, what do you and people, I just want this stuff out of here, I don't care about the vision. But I know when we start working together, if and when we start working together, that when we get stuck or it's like, oh, this is too hard, or I don't want to do this anymore, it's like, if I can go back to their vision with them and they remember, oh yeah, that's right, this is going to be a sewing room, or a craft room, or something that they never had once they move their son off to college, and it's going to be their space, then they're like, oh, I remember. Okay, yeah, okay, let's take a few second break and I'm ready again, because they've got that vision back.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. And then how are you different from other people that do this kind of work?
I honestly really pride myself on giving back to the community. I know a lot of professional organizers that will take donations when they leave, and they'll take it, basically wherever. Mm-hmm. I actually take the time, because we have so many charities and nonprofits around here that will directly take, they'll take there's a place that collects bras, there's a place that collects wedding dresses, there's a place, there's all these different places, and they give back directly to their community of people that don't have anything. And so I will, if we're going super fast, decluttering super fast, and we're throwing everything in bags, I'll take them out of my car and put them in my garage. And then when I get a chance, I will actually take the bags into my house and separate the stuff, so that it's like, well, if there's men's shoes in with women's shoes, I'll take the men's shoes out because they can go to Wheeler Mission. Or there were a few children's books that were in the ladies' closet. because you keep children's books in the ladies' closet. But it all gets thrown in together, and I take the time on my own time. I'm not charging my clients for that. I do it quickly, but to say, okay, well, there's these notebooks and pens and pencils and whatever. Okay, I know a teacher down the street, or there's crayons or whatever in with the clothes, or that sort of thing, and separate it out and actually take the time when I'm going a different way, or make myself go a different way, to then be able to donate to those people, to those communities that need it. I think it makes a difference. They're always very grateful.
I agree with you. I think that it makes a difference too. I think that um, especially keeping things fairly local, as much as we think about the internet, and we're like shifting into this global mentality. I've had some guests on here from England and from New Zealand and all of that, but it's really when you walk out of your house and do business with the store down the street, or give to your Goodwill location that's half a mile away, that you really are making a difference in the world in a tangible way. So thank you for taking the time to do that kind of stuff. How
Yeah,
else?
you're welcome.
Absolutely. How else do you share your expertise?
I share my expertise doing one-to-one consult or sessions like we talked about, actually doing non-judgmental, completely confidential, side-by-side help of asking questions so that you can get used to asking yourself. A lot of my clients will say, I heard you in my head today. What would Cindy say? Or do you love it? That sort of thing. I do those sessions. And I also do workshops in the community, not so much now with COVID, but as soon as we get the green light, we're going to start doing those again. I actually had to cancel a time management class because it was at the library and they had closed down. But I like doing those kind of workshops where people can just learn a little bit to help themselves get better with time management, because that helps with clutter and everything as well. And then I also do speaking engagements. I've spoken to the Women's Guild at Salvation Army and the Newcomers Club of Carmel. Women's groups are my favorite because they get it. They just relate better. And so that's how I share my expertise. I like to give information to people that might not be able to, attend a workshop or be able to afford one-to-one organizing, but they still need help with how to think about organizing their kitchen or decluttering their closet or whatever. So I enjoy all of those.
Excellent. And I invite everybody out there to reach out to Cindy for her 5 steps to stop procrastinating and start doing. What is the best way for people to reach out to you? Phone call, email, Facebook, all of your communication links will be in the description of this video.
Yeah, whatever's easiest for them. I usually prefer a phone call because then I know they're ready to get started and we can talk more quickly about, what's working, what's not working for them. I have a Facebook page, the Organizing Remedies page. I try and share tips on there, tips and humor and inspiration, because it's not easy to declutter. If it was easy, you would have done it already. So if I can help you do that by just inspiring you on Facebook or Instagram, that's great.
Awesome. Now, do you have any final thoughts for our audience before we head out for the day?
I do, actually. I really believe I know how hard it is to declutter and to get started because I fought with it for a long, long time. And so I've got 3 tips for our audience today. If you're struggling to get started, you don't know where to start with a cold drink. Get a lot of ice and a cold drink. Put on your favorite music, something with a beat, something that gets you excited, something that, Eye of the Tiger, or 80s is my thing. So whatever gets your juices flowing and you're like, okay, I've got something cold to drink and some music, and just start with 15 minutes. 15 minutes. You can do anything for 15 minutes. Really, I set the timer, and if at 15 minutes you want to stop doing that, then that's fine. But you'll find at 15 minutes, you'll already have a little bit of relief and you'll want to keep going.
Awesome. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you very, very much for being here on the show today and sharing your expertise with our audience, and even more so, the difference that you're making in your local community. Even under the umbrella of coronavirus and COVID, finding a way to still make a difference. Thank you so, so very much, Cindy.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for this opportunity. It's been a great conversation.
Excellent. All right, everyone, have a fantastic Tuesday, and we'll see you again soon. Bye. When you open yourself up to actual energy work, makes that recovery progress so much faster. That recovery is possible. You do not have to live as a victim until your last days. You have unbelievable strength, and I know that because you're still here. Do you want to create something completely unrecognizable with your life? I can show you how.